Comes up glow. What is that? What could that be? A very distinct blue glow. I wonder what it could be. That's right. It's a Kessel. And, it is very blue. I can see why people say about these things having, like, UV spectrum represented, because, man, does that get blue. Come around the front here. It just looks like a wall of blue. Pretty happy with it so far. It came out pretty good. Oh, hello, Mr. Cat. And Mr. Kitty. He wanted to be part of the video too. Here's the new return setup. I've got one of those little clamps on there. Plastic clamp. Still have this thing going on. The big difference here is there's an L now. There's a lock line 90 there, a little elbow. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. And yeah, that makes a huge difference in terms of how it drains when the tank is when the pump is shut off. It stops the siphon a lot sooner. It still drains a fair amount of water, but it does stop it pretty soon compared to how it was before that L was on there. And I'm sure if this wasn't such a steep 90 there, it wouldn't be nearly as required, but I also bought this thing. And, you know, see, this basically just has a 92. It's kind of what inspired me. This thing is thick. Like, it almost looks like it's 1 inch or 3/4 inch, but so is this. But the part I don't like about it is it's just, like, flimsy. Like, I can almost push this in with my finger, and the hose was slipping off. Now, I could have put the clamp on it, but I don't know. Between all that and the fact that it's really big compared to this, like, if you look how much space there, extra space there is when it's on there, it just sits really far in there. I managed to get this thing, you know, it's still big, but it's not nearly as big. So, I don't know. I ended up preferring this in the end. And I did buy a bunch of extra lock lines so I could redo this. These are reduced to, you can see it reduces down a 1/2 inch, and then it goes to the 1/2 inch fins, or fans, whatever you call them. I was thinking of maybe even removing the reducers, and I bought some 3/4 fans. So, we'll see. I might just leave it because you can see it creates a nice little wave there, and it really jets out when it's the smaller ones. So, may or may not change it. And the other thing I changed a little bit, well, you can see the lid is on here. I'm going to scooch this back a little. I can't close the lid all the way right now because it's I have to cut the plastic out. I'm not going to cut the plastic out till I'm 100% sure I'm done with the return design. So here, let's take a shot down here. And the main difference is that the Durso is now sitting much higher. And you can see the Durso is now, I mean, it's, yeah, it's sitting pretty high. And the water will get much higher in there now, although not that much higher. I mean, look how high it is now, just running with the reduced return on full blast. We're about 3/4 inch from the top, maybe. Now watch this. It's nice having no sand in the bottom or anything yet. You get a nice under tank light. So, let me just dial this out. Okay, so now we're fully running on the Durso. And hasn't gotten loud yet, but it will. Or, no, I guess that has gotten loud. If anything, it got quieter up here because the water level up here is now sitting so freaking high. So if you look now with the Durso sitting that high, the water in the tank, it gets up there. And now we're, instead of being 3/4 inch, it's more like a 1/2 inch. So that's emergency scenario. I'm honestly still happy with that. I mean, if this is the worst it would ever run, sort of a complete clog, which, you know, I'd be screwed anyway. But, well, if both clogged. So, yeah. I just think 2 is still better than 1, and all this would have been just the Durso, and the return would have been the other one, instead of going over the top. So, you know, 2 is better than 1. But, this is how it looks right now. And that's with the siphon completely closed. So now let's open that back up again. Mr. Kitty's looking to get involved. So now you can see it's dialed back, and so the water has dropped again. And so now it's mostly going through the siphon. I'm sure I can fine-tune it so that it's only going through the siphon. But it takes a little time. You can actually sort of just put your fingers on this thing and feel it. So I just opened the siphon too much because I just made it gurgle. Okay. Well, that's one way to know you opened it too much. Sometimes it's not very immediate, like you dial it and then you wait 30 seconds before anything changes, you know. But as I was gonna say, sometimes you can just sort of feel this. If this was solid PVC, it probably wouldn't be so easy to tell, but given that this is flex line, you can almost feel when there's water in it. And right now, it does not feel like there's anything in there. Nor do I see any bubbles. So I'm pretty sure that there's almost nothing going through there. I guess the final test is the look. It's sort of hard to tell, but the bubbles don't seem wet, and yeah, the water's sitting just below the tip of it, so I think it's so that's fully running off the siphon right there. So now, how does it restart? And you can hear it's pretty loud. It's almost the reason you'd want it to use the open channel a little bit is to raise the water level, but of course then some would argue that this is now no longer a dry emergency then, but I still argue that 2 is better than 1. So what else do we got here? Let's put it on feed mode, turn the pump off, and you can see it's gonna drain here, break that. So this, you'll see this will actually still drain even though the top one is showing there still, and it will actually drain to like the top of the 90, like the top of, basically till like right here is where it'll drain to. So I could still drill a siphon break. I'd probably drill it right in these little slots here if I was going to drill one, but I don't know if I'll do it or not. Honestly, it doesn't overflow the sump, so what the heck, right? Why bother drilling a hole when you don't need to? So let's go back down here. Let me just take this off so we can see a little better. I keep forgetting I should just take the skimmer out while I do these videos, huh? But so there you go. Try to get a nice view here of the pipes. And now let's turn this back on. Full blast. And let's watch how it purges. Still filling the tank. Yeah. It's got to fill back up. Okay, here we go. You can see just the siphon purging. Not too much coming out the open channel. Maybe a little bit just came out there, but not too much. And it is pretty much purged. I still hear a little bit of bubbles. Probably just another few seconds. You can even hear the bubbles going through the gate valve. Now it's looking pretty good though. Not too much left at this point. And if you do the touch test, however accurate that is, I really don't feel anything in there. Barely anything, if anything at all. Pretty sure nothing. Yeah, so there it is. So that's where the water level sits when it's fully running. It will drop when it's off. So you can see where I really tried to cut that is below the thing where the sock, it's hard to see. Basically there's a thing where the sock, yeah, see that little that lip there where the water's going over into the sock area here, that blue piece right here, basically like right there. That is basically where I was trying to go, about a half inch below that. So that's kind of where I cut the tube. I don't know if you can see it. Man, that skimmer is always in the way. Yeah, you can see it. So see the blue piece there? And see how the tube is about a half inch below where the blue, that blue little wall there ends? That was kind of what I was aiming for. Because basically when this is turned off, and let's turn it off again, it will eventually drain down. So you can see the water is actually lowering right now. And so when it's off, it will end up sitting about a half inch below the water. So that's kind of what I was aiming for. I figure that way it's kind of always going to be in water no matter what. You know, if the thing was off for a few days and, I don't know, some water evaporated or something, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would fill up anyway, but I'd like it to sit where I know there's always going to be water. I'd worry if I didn't sit it that high and I sat a little bit lower, that if the flow rate was turned down really low on the pump or something, that it might not raise the water level in there enough to get it underwater. So at the level it's at right now, I know it's always going to be about a half inch underwater. Alright, so let's turn the pump back on. You can see it really fills. Alright, let's go back down here.